2024. Please be advised that this open meeting will be broadcast live via Westford Cable Access TV and recorded for playback online. Attendees are reminded that your presence is consent to having your likeness and your audio being used and rebroadcast by Westford Cable Access TV. So the first agenda item is open forum. Do any members of the commission have something for open forum? Nope. Matt?
Just as a programming note, the continued public hearing for Wilmer Realty Trust, 426 Littleton Road, 334-1846. The applicant has requested a continuance to June 12th. But just in the event anybody's here for that, don't want to wait for the entire meeting, just to have it be continued.
Okay. Do any members of the audience have something they'd like to bring up during open forum? No? Okay. Moving on to our next agenda item, a certificate of compliance request for the Westford Conservation Trust at 0 Wright Lane and an unnumbered Hildreth Street.
Hi, my name is Rich Strasdis. I'm president of the Westford Conservation Trust, and we went through the NOI process to describe how and where we were going to build a boardwalk on our Hildreth Meadow property. And it was completed a little over a week ago, and the trust was fortunate to have 4 WA capstone students who actually did the heavy lifting, literally, and 3 of them are here now, and I'd like to introduce them. This is Sam Maffatori, terrible names, Matthew, Cassie, and Kyle Goucher. Also, Edwin Mellinson is supposedly going to be here, but he may be a bit late. And so they did the work. Matt has already looked at the structure, and we're here to seek a certificate of compliance.
Any questions?
Looks great.
Looks great.
Looks great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And it passed the jump test. Rich does have video of all 4 capstone seniors jumping on the individual sections, some quite vigorously. So I was happy with its construction, and certainly it's a great addition, especially as the last 9 months we've this wetland hasn't dried out, and in the photos provided by Rich, certainly see the muddy footprints across it, but also you see the standing water of the wetlands, and this came out great, and I'd recommend the commission issuing the certificate of compliance.
Okay. Are there any members of the audience who would like to make comments or ask questions? I think your 4th capstone's here.
Yes.
This is Edward the Fourth of the
Excellent.
Musketeers.
Well, thank you very much for your work on this project. Can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-1834?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You're all set.
Thank you. I appreciate the board's interest.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.
Great project. Good job.
Okay, moving on to our 7:05 p.m. agenda item. It's a discussion of paving of Stony Brook Conservation Area Access Road from Depot Street to Camp Neshoba.
Good evening. I'm Ellen Hardy. I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Westford Land Preservation Foundation. With me is Nancy Rosinski, one of the founders of the foundation, and both very involved in the establishment of the conservation restriction that we're working from about whether or not the road should be paved. And our Board of Directors met this past Monday morning, and it was a unanimous vote that we do not approve the paving of the road at East Boston Camps. I will let Nancy, who is far more conversant, because I think she wrote it, with the wording, but we looked at both the master plan that was done for East Boston Camps in 2007, in that spring, and also the conservation restriction itself. And in at least 3, if not 4 places, it just reiterates over and over and over again that, quote, roadways shall remain unpaved where possible and practical. And that's what we bought that land for, to leave it as it was when we bought it. And if in fact the argument is, but more and more people are using it and therefore we have to accommodate the cars, in our humble estimation, we're doing something wrong. It was not to invite more and more cars in. It was to invite more and more walkers in to appreciate the environmental beauty of that 300 acres. So we don't approve the paving and will not approve the proposal that's before you tonight. As the holders of the CR, we have that right.
Will I be getting a response in writing to that?
You will, in fact, do that. I thought if there was some input and some back that you had tonight, the letter has been drafted, Matt, but I didn't want to send it out until tonight's discussion. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of, I think, Matt, you had said that you've got
Yes, I have received from
DPW?
Yeah, DPW has provided their history of work orders, and, you know, the area from Depot Street to the parking area. They've addressed it 4 times. They addressed it 4 times in last summer. The existing, they had not addressed it with a work crew since September of 2023. So it's been better part of 8 months. So the existing conditions is, you know, what the, you know, the where of, you know, visitors to the property are. I don't, if, you know, the commission does not want to pursue going forward with it or want to pursue, again, you know, if it's I don't know the technical term, but chew up all the existing roadway and have that recompacted, you know, if that's so it stays in the existing unpaved condition, but it's you know, it kind of redistributes the existing subbase and substrate, and have that compacted. Again, I think something needs to be done out there. Again, I've gotten my fair share of calls from, you know, people who are displeased with the condition of the road. But if paving's not to be pursued, I think something needs to be done. Again, as you know, the Director of Public Works mentioned at the previous meeting, you know, their crews are unable to keep up with, you know, the maintenance, and so something needs to be done. I look forward to, you know,
So
what it could be.
can you reach out to the Director of Public Works and ask if, you know, you talked about bringing in machines that will chew up the surface that's already there, respread it, to find out if that's feasible. I think we've also got an opportunity to reach out to both Teamworks and the Recreation Department, looking at the feasibility of telling them that they will have to arrange for their students to be getting on buses off-site to be bussed in.
Yeah, I mean, again, I welcome.
I'm sorry, I didn't, bus to where?
Bust
into the camp.
All the way in?
Or bussed in rather than having, so that
Parents do
entering
it.
from Depot Street, they're on a bus, and then we'll see how far up, you know, in terms of coming up with a plan for what we can do to prevent or to replace a flow of parents delivering children into the camp.
They can walk from the gate up, can they not?
They can walk from the railroad tracks up.
They can
Well,
walk
but I
from
mean, for safety's
Stony
sake.
Brook.
if
So the
somebody's
Stony
going
Brook
to go.
School is actually a shorter walk to the
can walk
camp.
from there.
From the
Okay.
access road
I
gate.
will, again, I don't want, I would caution the commission to committing to anything. Again, you know, we do have a agreement with, you know, a license agreement, and I don't want to, you know, the commission, you know, and the town do have responsibilities, you know, in accordance with that, so I just don't.
Are you talking safety for the children, is that what you're
Safety,
saying?
or just what was proposed, what was, you know, the commission approved back in the fall of 2020. You know, I think there are we can certainly,
So what are contractual obligations?
right, what are
are at
the,
this
but also,
point?
have, I mean, if this is something the commission wants to pursue, I would, want them to be a part of it and not just have the commission direct without their input.
So it needs to be a dialogue of possible solutions?
Yes.
But that's what we're doing.
No, with us and the directors of the different camp programs.
Okay, but I'd like to hear what you're proposing in terms, did you
We
have a
don't
road
have all of
proposal?
that. I did meet with Michelle Collette on Friday and told her about this meeting. She wanted to be here tonight. I guess she's not able to do that. But, I think that our board has been derelict in following our duty. We should have been looking over any agreements that you had with both the Recreation Commission. I think some of the agreements that you've made, maybe in fact in violation of the CR, and mea culpa. We were not proactive when we should have been. But this is the perfect opportunity before the summer of 2024 to look at those. Because I think some of the things that we have been doing in the last 3 or 4 summers violate the CR as well. And we need to pull that string in terms of the amount of traffic that's being allowed there, in terms of roads that are being used for vehicles that the CR says should only be used for authorized vehicles. And by that, when the CR was written, that meant George Fletcher's truck, period. And so it's grown, and the board, has not been good about watching that growth. So we'd love to be a part of it with Michelle and with Teamworks and with you. We're not going to decide this tonight, but ASA. And what I said to Michelle, and I didn't say this with the whole board there, but she has commitments that she's made for the summer of '24. We may have to. She's made commitments to parents and to campers for the summer of '24 already. And so we may have to pull back a little for '24 and then negotiate for '25 about, are we really doing what the CR requires it to do? So it may be a 2-step process to get to where our board thinks the CR really thinks the camps should be in terms of especially vehicle traffic. So I'll leave it at that, but we're very, very willing to be a part of it. And not only willing, we should be a part of it, and we should have been in the past, and that's our mistake. Nothing Matthew did at all. We should have been proactive.
And would this also apply to all those rental agreements for, like when?
Yeah, again, I'd be curious to see about the language of the explicit language of the conservation restriction.
Yep.
That is the recorded, that is the legal document.
Yep, absolutely.
The master plan is a good and useful guiding document.
Yep.
But as mentioned, there was one person, it was one person who was the caretaker at that time, and that was, so I welcome for the rationale as to why the foundation is opposed, but also, I would like to review the conservation restriction language itself, and we'll include that in the commission's meeting packet for so everybody can.
So with our contract with Teamworks, when is that contract, the existing contract, through? I think it was for 5 years through next year. So we're in the 4th year of a 5-year contract?
I believe so.
Okay. No, you look.
Sure. I have 2 questions. One is grinding up and recompacting that. Is that a fairly permanent solution, or will they have to do it more?
No, I mean, it's not a permanent, it's.
So they'll have to do it again.
Right, but it's something that, again, the town's loader and grader and, machine, their equipment, their trucks aren't,
So we have a surface
compacting
that's
and
been in
fixing.
place for 20-plus years.
Right.
And as it ages and degrades, it requires maintenance.
The other question is, I read somewhere, what was the point of view about the fire and the police about getting there and acting?
Their concern, I think, was the condition of the road, not the traffic,
Okay.
was the way Kyle Fox represented it when the emergency services reached out to DPW about the road
And
condition.
we will work with them too. They will all be part of this review.
Marilyn?
It just seems to me that, we've grown without realizing how much we've grown. And that it's been years, and that it takes a while to do this study and to put all the components in, including I'm here 55 years. There certainly weren't this many people here when all of this happened. So to me, this would be a study for probably, a little bit of time, a month or something like that, with all the components, including the cost and where the money comes from for the cost to do the right thing for the camp. So it's time, without anybody apologizing for not doing it sooner. Life passes.
Margaret, could Nancy just say two things, and then we won't take more of your time?
If you don't mind, just want to ask a couple clarifying questions. So you had mentioned that you've gotten a lot of calls about residents that are displeased with the condition of the road. So what section or sections are they displeased with?
So typically coming in right alongside the train tracks, but also during the camp season, I have received, comments from the camp director to the effect that, they were potentially losing attendees because of the area beyond the gate going up to the two camps.
Because of the condition?
Yes.
In which, when you put the volume of cars going up that road like it is right now, they're the ones that are creating the potholes, right? So you're kind of chasing your tail here.
This is a big
Again, alongside the train tracks, people are still, that's a public area. So, that needs to be, we can't just ignore that, in lieu of the.
We're lucky we have a problem because we got to look at it.
You had a second question?
Right. No, I was just going to point out, because you mentioned you wanted to look at the CR, so I just happened to have it and underlined it. And, the one thing I think that the foundation kind of keyed on within the legal CR document, when it talks about the roads, is that the premise should be substantially in their present condition or as reasonably necessary for the uses herein permitted. So I think it's really, trying to keep it substantially as is, a pretty key guiding factor, I think, in making decisions on that property.
It's the way I always understood it, that it was not to be improved, but to be maintained to the extent possible in its original condition.
But that's where the money comes in, too, to look at how would you keep it that way.
Well, there's another phrase, and I haven't found it, but Nancy referred to the fact that it said that any improvements that shall be done shall be the cost of, incurred as the cost
Shall
of
what?
the campers or the camp
Yeah, that's in the
itself?
master plan.
That's in the master,
Yeah.
okay.
Can't hear what
we'll
you're
take
I think
that.
they
We'll
didn't
go-
want that to be a
no,
taxpayer
we'll-
burden.
yeah, We'll go back to that then.
Okay.
Jim?
One of the other problems we've had with the roadway and the entranceway is speeding. Whenever the road is repaired, the speed limit all of a sudden disappears. The signs say 10 miles an hour, and I think people were saying that there aren't signs. There are signs that say 10 miles an hour. And 10 miles an hour would be fine. But when the road accommodates faster, people go faster. And if there's lots of walkers that use the camps, even when the camp operations are in session. So I'm great with trying to reduce the traffic to nothing. If the police need to get in there for emergency vehicles, fine, let them go in. They can get in either on their normal police vehicles or ATVs, whatever they need to get in there. But I think we can get the kids a little healthier and get them walking either from over by the Stony Brook School or from the entranceway by the railroad tracks. And Ellen, a question for your board. Had you considered or thought about the idea of any paving whatsoever, or is just adamantly no? Because I'm thinking if we have a drop-off area, at the railroad tracks, where people come off at Depot Street, drop off the kids, and depart, that road would get all the wear.
I can't answer that. Let's see what we come up with all the parties involved.
Okay,
and
but
find
that's
out.
an
I mean, we're
option.
obviously understand that there may be some changes, but the one that was proposed to us in the letter that we received on the
Which we
20th
intended the whole road.
was
yeah.
far more than we
Got it.
were able to.
But if we could, at the next opportunity, talk perhaps about just that segment adjacent to the railroad tracks.
When we
And
bring you
that-
back a
That
proposal.
section is going to be hooked up to the sidewalk. They're going to be going across
That's
the
right, the
road
sidewalk
to
to
the
now.
sidewalk.
New ones that come down past
Yeah.
Grassy Ponds.
Yes.
Thank you, Noel.
Yeah.
No, just before. So Jim, you talk about the first responders. I think we also need to keep in mind that there are times that the ambulances need to get in there, and we need to make sure that
Always
there's
been true.
nothing that impedes
Well,
their
there'll be a gate,
response.
a locked gate in which they have keys. We've had multiple conservation coordinators pass them keys for every police vehicle in town. They've lost them several times. I don't know if they have them anymore, but they've been given all the keys that they could possibly use to get in there.
No?
The only other comment I had is if people were to walk from the parking, to the, up. To
By the
camps,
train, you mean from the train tracks
or wherever.
or wherever?
Yeah. What is or are we exempt from the ADA compliance rules?
You mean in terms of if somebody's got to walk
Like in
in?
a wheelchair or whatever, can't walk,
My understanding of, I mean, even just members of the general public who, want to experience, we are not
Probably not
to
bound.
unreasonably withhold. So if they have a mobility assisted device, that's typically permitted, but that's under, I can scrounge up that guidance document from town council to.
Well, we had
And
that, yeah,
sometimes-
because we had somebody last spring.
Somebody reached out about it, so
who
that's
was
why
in
I'm
a
only
mobility
kind
device
of.
and wanted to have access up to the camp area.
Or, yeah, just know about access, and so wanted to, I know enough to be dangerous, but not enough to
We can
speak with
also
certainty.
be sure we include the committee that's looking into that. We can get hold of Wendy Lloyd and the other people who are on that committee to make sure that there is accessibility even to the conservation lands and have them be part of this process so that doesn't get forgotten. And I've made a note to that effect.
It's time.
So are there any comments or questions from members of the audience on this topic? No. Okay. So,
Set a potential date to have come back to you to.
22nd.
With what?
Well, I mean, so at least the letter, and.
That can go to you tomorrow.
Yeah, right, I mean.
Yeah.
And then, again, the DPW director is available. I spoke with him about attending on the 22nd. I mean, and again, I can try to coordinate with the two camp operators to have,
the conversation about.
Representation here,
yeah.
to have a representation.
Right, and again, in terms of, the foundation's concerns about traffic and, where you see the language that, authorized vehicle,
Is 2 weeks enough for you?
or,
Well, selfishly, not if I'm going to be driving the train, because I'm going to be out of town. And I think that a lot of the discussions that Matt is talking about can happen other than at a Conservation Commission meeting, so by the time we come back to you, we're making the best use of your time,
Well, it might-
and we're actually presenting a proposal to you. So, I would think that we would want to get in touch with Michelle and the men, the staff at Teamworks. So if it could be perhaps moved off to the meeting following that, I think we
I
would
was
just
thinking
have a more
4 weeks.
substantive
I was thinking 4
discussion.
weeks.
But, so with the conversation with Teamworks and
Right.
Rec, does that need to be part of a public hearing, or can that be outside of a public
I
hearing?
mean, if the commission wanted to designate people to represent the commission and we can report back, again, it'll be,
Okay.
that may be, 2, 3 members of.
So
to-
less than
to-
quorum.
Yeah, well, as to act on the commission's behalf, that may be.
Okay, yeah, because I think, there have been a variety of thoughts brought forward, and I think, it would be good to have those thoughts expressed and hear from the camp director's perspectives what their response is. But, yeah, so we'll go with June
12th.
12th?
Yeah.
Okay,
But if the commission also wants to take a vote to designate representatives to,
okay.
discuss and collaborate with the parties involved.
So who,
Who are the parties involved? How
Good
many?
question. I'd like to volunteer, but I also want to make sure we get advance copies to read the memorandum of understanding we have with Recreation about how they would use the camps in return, I believe, for the coordination of the rental operations and all that. And then also
Contracts
the
of both.
contract with the camp group.
Are those available online, Matt? And would that be in the Document Management Center, or would that not be available to you?
Ellen, I can't hear you.
Maybe, but I would make sure to share it with all parties.
so
Not 100% sure.
we have Noel, we have Jim, and I'll be a participant as well. So that gives you 3 members of the commission.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Get there. All right,
So I
we
guess
look
I
forward
have
to
to
working.
one clarifying. So
Sure.
do we know who's leading the charge on this as far as the offline meetings?
It'll be Margaret and I.
Yeah, because I know that, with the camp director's preparing for the start of their season. You know, we need to move expeditiously on this.
And, you know, perhaps they go in tandem. I mean, maybe on May 22nd, as a commission, you meet with them to let them know what's happening. That doesn't preclude the rest of us from being
Right.
working on the longer term.
Yep.
So I think both could happen, Matt, if you,
So we can start the conversations on the 20th, but that we will continue this discussion on June.
22nd.
What?
22nd.
22nd, you said 20th. Okay, just want to double
Okay,
check.
so on the 22nd, we can have discussions with the camp and representatives from the camp.
Yes, I will try
but
to coordinate.
This discussion regarding work on the roads will be on our June 12th meeting.
thank you.
Okay.
Excellent.
This doesn't need to be an actual continuation, correct?
No public hearing.
So we've just set,
Just a discussion
We've
item,
just,
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
we've just set the date.
Thank you, Margaret, so much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Awesome.
Enjoy your trip.
We'll get there.
Moving on to our 7:10 PM agenda item. It's a certificate of compliance request for George Allen and Sons Construction, Cloverleaf Lane.
Not here, but at the commission's last meeting where the certificate of compliance request was presented, there was some buffer mitigation plantings agreed to. I stopped out the Monday following the meeting, and the photo is attached to the plan. Well, species to the plan, but kind of distributed more throughout the 50-0 wetland buffer, offsetting the encroachment by the deck. One of the concerns I did have, you know, not today notwithstanding, was making sure that the plants get watered and get established. You know, there have been years where we have had summers of droughts. So, and both the project engineer and the builder with which the certificate, the order of conditions was issued to, confirmed that the property owner will be watering and, you know, making sure they get established. So,
In the next 3 days to, or
Yeah.
2 days.
certainly wet enough.
Okay.
And would recommend a certificate of compliance if there are no other questions.
Any questions? Okay. Can I have a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 334-1769?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Moving on to our 7:15 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for DeCarolis, 122 Main Street.
Noel,
You're up.
I forgot to print it, my bad.
Oh, no. All right. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024 at 7:15 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the notice of intent application of Peter DeCarolis, Deca Corp. For the removal of 2 sheds, a driveway, and a portion of a building, and renaturalization of land previously disturbed within 100 feet of bordering vegetative wetlands and 200 feet of a perennial stream at 122 Main Street.
Hi, good evening. Matt Waterman with Lantec Consultants. Here with me tonight is also Peter DeCarolis of Deca Corp. We're here for the notice of intent application for one of the lots for the Hicks Farm, lot number 3, 122 Main Street. It's a 1.5 acre parcel. It's the portion of the Hicks property I'm sure most of you are familiar with that's kind of in between the riding ring and then Bob's office, where there was a kind of a paved driveway in between. There's an existing barn, and lot 3 kind of encapsulates that barn and the pastures kind of in front of and behind it. On this plan, you can see the barn. It's a little faded in the middle. It's the long one that you see from the road. And then there's a smaller one that, in total, it's about 6,200 square feet of barn. The smaller one on the right-hand side was used for wood storage when Bob had his cabinet-making business just to the right. And then the longer barn was on the backside. There's a paved area that goes around behind it. There's a series of garage bays that were car storage, or I'm not sure what they did back there, but it's basic garage space. The resource areas for the property, I'm sure as most of you are familiar, I think everyone was, at least most members were present when we were doing the delineation, are to the very rear of the property, getting closer to the residential properties on Douglas Road, Kersey Circle. There's a wetland area and then a small riverfront associated with an unnamed tributary to Tadmuck Brook. The INRAD was done back in May of '21. There was no floodplain or natural heritage associated with the resource areas. We're here tonight to develop it into a single-family dwelling. We're going to remove the larger barn and then keep the smaller barn. The larger barn is roughly 3,700 square feet, and the smaller barn is about 2,500 square feet, or 42 by 60. The house, there would be, this is all paved in through here currently, and so we would repave and kind of connect the two, the primary residence and then the accessory structure. The new building would be a 5-bedroom, 3-car side load, roughly 2,400 square foot footprint. The riverfront, obviously a lot of the notice of intent, where most of this project is outside the riverfront. You can see the 200-foot riverfront almost goes straight across, and then you have this sweeping 100-foot wetland buffer. Obviously the house, the septic, the driveway, all of that is outside of the resource areas. And so a lot of the work in the back is just restoration work. We remove approximately 8,600 square feet of impervious area. There's a small little gravel area back in through here that gets removed, restored. This was a lower pasture that kind of hides in the way back. I don't know if you remember, but there was the horse barn was off to the right, and then this pasture was connected to that. And it kind of hides because it's down below the paved area where I think if anyone's ever been on a walk site are mostly familiar with that area. But we do restore almost 11,500 square feet back to natural buffer. We restore the entire 100-foot inner riparian. The report includes a detailed alternatives analysis as well as a general narrative for the performance standards of the riverfront. We did do a stormwater management permit with Planning Board Engineering Department. We do provide roof drains, rain garden, and that was done for all 3 lots. Deca Corp has control of lots 1, 2, and 3, so there is a stormwater management permit for those 3 lots. The lot to the right is where Bob's house is and the office. That's under control of a different entity, and they're coming along there. I'm sure you've driven by. It's starting to come together there. I think they've had either 1 or 2 sales, just general information. And for as far as protection of the resource area, there's kind of where the edge of pavement ran along the back and over towards the barn. We're going to establish that because there's a steep slope right as you go off the edge of pavement. So there are wooden posts proposed along that area where this barn stays. It does allow for access around the back. Be happy to answer any question. Peter is here as well, and that's all I have to say.
Any questions from members of the commission? Matt, I'm just curious. I know that the remaining barn portion is on slab. I'm curious as to what its potential uses would be, given that it's in the riverfront area and in the buffer zone.
I don't know if there is a use. I think that, and I've been working with Peter on this, on plans, we've torn the barn down, kept the barn, torn the barn down. And so I know you would think that it's an asset to a property, but surprisingly, a lot of people don't want that extra structure. But I think it's just general storage or what people are going to do. We don't have a use for it, but.
Okay. I just, when we Matt?
Just kind of following up off of that, what are the utilities in it? Is there any drains that would need to be concerned about going probably towards the wetlands?
I would assume there is electrical, because there is an electric panel right in the front left corner. But I don't know if there's any floor drains. Peter might know better than I do if there's any.
No, there aren't any floor drains. Before I bought the property, I did a 21E on it. On the other lots there were, but that's been all taken care of. Just electric and that, no water, no sewer, no floor drains.
Is a slab level or sloped in a particular direction, or?
It's level. There could be a little pitch. I'm not sure. I've never noticed it myself. The garage door into it is on the side of the building. And sometimes, you know, you pitch it up 3 inches across the garage, but I'm pretty sure this is flat.
Okay. I just, you know.
I just use it for storage. I'm not in there all the time, so a typical house garage, I'd be able to answer that in a second. But
Okay, so it it has electrical service. It has no running water, anything like that in there. Okay. Any other questions?
No, just maybe, just thinking of potential special conditions at this time, you know, including something in that in perpetuity where, so there's an explicitly stated, you know, no sewer, no bath, you know, and if so,
That it could not be converted into an ADU.
I don't know if we can do that. It was more so just any, you know, adding any water into there, then, you know, comes before the commission for, so that, you know, we make sure that there's, you know, nobody's flushing and washing anything out the back, you know, towards, into the wetland buffer and whatnot. I don't know how I'm gonna word that, but if that's something the commission would like to see an attempt at, I'm more than happy to try.
Yeah.
There's 2 sheds to be removed up in the northwest corner of the property. One straddles the property line, and the other one's a little interior. Are those able to be removed manually? Because those are the only things that are really close to the wetland.
I'm not sure. You can drive down there. I've driven down there, but I'm not sure what the plan was to.
The one on the property line could be removed manually. Yep, that one. The one right to the right, a little bit more to that. That's going to take a machine to remove that one.
All right. Can we add in erosion control?
Yeah,
on
temporary erosion control as well.
That's
I
a
mean,
good idea.
the normal erosion control is fine, but I think we need to have a short segment up
Yep.
to the north of the
Yeah,
shed.
it's kind of an abandoned area. I think at one point it was utilized for storage of some sort, but the sheds are kind of defunct now.
It's good that they're being removed. Just
Yeah. I think it'll naturalize fairly quickly, I would think.
Marilyn?
Matt, what was it, 6 buildings that you were putting up for this whole piece of property?
Yeah, there's
Is that
6
what I'm
lots,
remembering?
6
I'm not saying 6 families, you know, I'm just saying
houses, but
six
on
There's
lot 4,
townhouses.
there's 2
that have multiple.
buildings that have each are 2 units.
I noticed that. I pass it every day, but, you know, so I was
Yeah, so
thinking about
those are
6
both
structures.
duplexes. The original farmhouse got turned into a duplex in the office.
But it was 6 structures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, 7 including the barn.
Well, if you count accessory, there's actually 7 primary structures.
Okay.
Because Bob's original house has 2 primary.
Oh.
Right.
And then there's an accessory barn. The original horse barn is still standing, and this barn will still stand.
Okay.
And then there's smaller sheds, but as far as larger structures, like barns, this would be one of 2.
Okay. Do any members of the audience? Oh, no?
Quick question, Matt, no trees are being taken down, right?
Nope, not that I'm aware of. I don't think there's any, there might be one. If you-
I don't think I passed any
It was pretty
trees.
sad, but just
You
checking.
scroll to the front of the property, I think there is one tree that gets removed with the rain garden, I believe, down in here. We were looking at it. It's diseased. Obviously, all the trees on the frontage, the goal with both projects was to keep as many of those trees without disturbing any. This one, we were standing and looking at it, there's a couple stems that are dry rotted. And so there is one tree that I believe that comes down with this.
Can you replace it?
But that's
Of course.
outside, that's outside
It's
the.
outside the buffer.
Yeah, it's outside.
But we'd be happy to replace it with a tree, I'm sure.
Usually say
Well, we have the rain garden there, so I prefer not to. There's like a 50-foot tree there.
Or maybe we find another place where we
Maybe
can
elsewhere,
go.
somewhere on the lot.
We usually have a piece where you take down a tree, you put up a tree, period. Doesn't have to be in the exact spot.
Well, we have a whole bunch of plants going inside that rain garden. But yeah, a little 2-inch caliber tree or something,
Yeah,
sure, no problem.
but we would
Yeah.
want something.
Okay, so if you'd like to ask a question, make a comment, if you come up to the microphone and let us know who you are.
I'm Iris McMillan. I live on 5 Douglas Road. I'm just wondering if any of these changes that you're discussing would have any different impact on any of the houses on Douglas Road? Meaning water or sewage or draining or anything like that? Will that affect any of the houses?
No, and actually, like, all the changes on there's kind of a grade divide, almost, in the middle of the lot, there's a high point that kind of runs through all lots throughout the whole development. And it's about the middle of the plan and through here, where there's kind of divide where it flows to the back towards the brook and then towards Main Street. All of this work that goes into the back is removing pavement, restoring it to natural buffer. The pasture closest to the wetland is allowed to naturalize, and this whole area is restored from pavement to grass, so we don't anticipate any increases in runoff. It should help reduce it,
So more rainfall, et cetera, will soak into the ground. There'll be trees and vegetation as opposed to pavement. And where you've got the disturbed old pasture, that will just grow up and become woodlands again?
Correct.
So you'll also be getting more of a buffer?
Yeah, I was concerned about the pavement, the paving, and if there were going to be buffers in terms of drainage and water. And
Yeah, and Matt, I'll keep asking you to scroll forward. All of, like I said, all where the pavement, here, this is all existing pavement today. It gets reduced. It's actually probably 35 feet wide. It's kind of the main entrance into the facility. And we removed that and narrowed down to more of a conventional driveway and less pavement. The pavement extends all throughout, around all these structures, so.
So what pavement will be there, most of it will actually drain towards Main Street
Yes,
rather than
and the pavement
towards
area that
Douglas.
isn't through here all drains towards the rain garden, and then the roof gets all directed into a roof drain. And it's designed in accordance with the stormwater management permit, and we're required by the stormwater management permit when we go to apply for the building permit to submit a stormwater plot plan, which documents and justifies any minor changes.
It shouldn't affect you.
So we have to document one more time with engineering in their stormwater management decision that any changes get kind of vetted through that process.
Okay, great, thank you.
Hi, Joe Vizella, 9 Douglas Road. So on the riverfront area, the calculations, it shows existing at 10,280 and proposed 1585. Can we see where that 1585 is? Is there any way to kind of show what's?
I was going to just scroll up to the figure first, just for reference.
While you're scrolling, just based on the density of the buildings, I mean, we went from a few buildings in the center of that property to 9 at this, anything where we have a building that you're not quite sure how it would be used or any value that it has, that sits, half of it is sitting in the riverfront. Would love to see that piece of property go away because the density across that whole 5 acres looks completely different than anything that we've seen when it was the Hicks property.
And the 1,500 square feet you're speaking of is the impervious area or the?
In the impervious, yeah, so you show a delta of, but what is that 1585 that's remaining? Is it a building, is it paving? It's because it's all bundled underneath that one category.
It is bundled into the impervious as a whole.
So that would include both the house and the paved driveway?
I mean, it's probably I would venture a guess that's the portion of the existing barn.
The barn itself is 2,500 square feet, 42 by 60. So, without knowing off the top of my head, but that appears to me to be about 1,500 square feet in that area.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're talking about that portion of the barn in the riverfront area is what's the 1,500 in the calculation?
Correct.
Okay. So most of the paved driveway and the house that's to be constructed is outside the riverfront, so it's not in the calculation?
Correct.
Okay.
And so the footprint of that barn that you just circled stays exactly the same if you keep it?
Yep, it's kind of broken up, and you can see it's the other one's faded, but
Yeah.
they're almost two structures. You know, the one, and the dimensions, and the only reason, one's 36 by 100, one's 42 by 60, so they're real standardized dimensions, so they're almost two structures. Peter, do you know if they were built separately or at
I think
different
they were
times?
built separately, just looking at it. There's differences in the construction of them.
It is, I mean, I know this isn't footprint-wise, but would elevation change in that barn? So the structure pretty much stays the
No,
same?
the grading, all the grading in that area kind of remains the same.
I mean, as
Changes.
elevation of the building, not the grounds,
Building staying
just as it is. Okay,
just get fixed.
So the barn's remaining unchanged?
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
So just as a neighbor, and I'll sit down after this, because of the density, if there's anything that conservation can do to restrict the use or expansion of that use of that building, would be appreciated. I do like Matt's suggestion of not having any kind of plumbing or something like that in that, in that building, because right now, I think the traffic going in and out of those 9 homes is going to be enough. Would hate to see something where they've rent those garages for, construction, and you'll have construction trucks going in and out of there every day.
I am Jen Bozella, 9 Douglas Road, and I have a question about the proposed primary home on Lot 3. Just wondering, what is the proposed septic size? Like how many bedrooms? 5 bedroom, okay. And then Matt, Matt Waterman, if you wouldn't mind talking about the delineation of the wetlands resource area. I saw the fence posts on the map. Is it just fence posts and then rewilding? Is that the plan? I saw little, you can see them in black. They look like stumps. And that'll delineate the wetlands 100-foot buffer.
No.
Those are the proposed conservation posts.
Oh, posts, okay. All right, and then it will just, from that point on, be allowed to regrow?
Correct.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
So the wetland, and just quickly, the wetland, this was that area, the wetland was pretty homogeneous or uniform, when we were out there, the wetland was pretty well defined. This was one area where it crept into that pasture area. So that pasture was used all through here, but just, so there's that bump out which created this buffer, but
yeah.
To Eric's point, the posts are put along here, they have a little plaque, conservation area, and the intent is that there's no mowing, no swing sets, no ongoing use, behind those posts.
Okay, thank you. Oh, wait a minute. But in the remainder of the RFA, can there be a use of fertilizer restriction? If you're going through will there be rewilding? And if not, if there's lawn, we had a use of fertilizer restriction on, I think it was lot 4.
That's typical language of the commission as one of the special
Fertilizers,
conditions.
herbicides,
Okay.
Yeah.
In the RFA. All right, thank you.
And this wetland was delineated in order of resource area delineation was issued May or June of 2021, sometime in there, so.
Sure.
This is ignorance. One of these symbols on your plan here, this little zigzag arrow, there's one here, and then there's 2 more off to the left.
Flow arrows, just to kind of help with the grading, to
okay, that's all it is.
indicate to the contractor to water to flow away from that.
All right.
It's also helpful also helpful for staff.
Okay. So if there are no further questions, I think we're at the point where you'd be ready to draft
Special conditions.
special conditions. So continue to the May 22nd?
Yes, if that's perfect.
Okay. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing until May 22nd?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on the 22nd.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, okay. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty much lives here, right?
Moving on to our next agenda item. There's a minor modification request from Toll Brothers Incorporated, the Nutting Road right-of-way near 73 Nutting Road.
Good evening. Again, for the record, Matt Waterman, Land Tech Consultants, here on behalf of Toll Brothers. Jessica Marsh is also here as a representative of Toll Brothers, project manager for the Wendell Place project on Nutting Road, which most of you, I haven't been down there in a little while. I'm sure maybe the commission members are, but I know construction has started. And we're here tonight for a modification, a minor modification for the notice of intent that we filed on behalf of the subdivision with the commission for an overflow pipe from the infiltration system down at the entrance. There's two roads that service the development. There's one here and there's one just off the page to the right. And this infiltration system captures kind of the last couple hundred feet of roadway before it drains onto Nutting Road. That captures and holds the one you need here, storm event, and working with engineering and DPW, and most of the members may recall that we put in this overflow pipe. It's for storm events greater than 100-year storm event, and it goes down Nutting Road. I want to say 400 feet roughly. It's a 12-inch reinforced concrete pipe, and then it connects into a culvert that exists on Nutting Road before discharging towards Keys Brook. We're here tonight. We currently had the design, and it's hard to see, but it's along the edge of the pavement on the south side of Nutting Road. That's where it was approved today, and with this commission, working with not only Toll Brothers, but the contractor, Patriot. They had kind of gotten a better handle on utilities in Nutting Road. Now the construction started, and they've requested that we push that drain pipe to the north, about 15 feet. We've been working with the engineering department. This is kind of a second reiteration of this plan. I believe they're comfortable with it. I can't speak on their behalf, but they had just asked that we update the profile. We had just kind of graphically shown it, which we have done, and make sure that we had proper cover over the pipe, which we do, 2.4 feet. So we're here tonight to ask the commission to approve this as a minor modification. We've been working with engineering, and I believe they're going to be handling this as a field change. We're meeting with everyone tomorrow to kind of go through it on the site, but it's my understanding that they're comfortable with this as a field change, and it wouldn't require planning board approval. Be happy to. Matt might have better insight on that.
Well, no, my only question was the drainage would be the drainage would be within the pavement.
Yes, it'd be linear construction within the pavement. Before, it was on the edge of the pavement. I'm not sure if it makes a difference or not.
But no vegetation. No vegetation needs to be.
No vegetation, correct.
Now, will you have to open the road up and dig down to do it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
How deep would you be digging?
It has about 2.5 feet of cover on average towards the closer you get to the culvert. It's a little deeper when you get to the entrance, but I would say on average 4 to 5 feet, And it's linear construction, so they'll be closing it at the end of every day. It won't remain open.
Having driven down this road a lot, my only question is whether doing that excavation under the roadway, is that going to affect the roots of any of the trees close to the road?
I mean, obviously, there are a couple trees, the closer you get that one in particular that kind of sits right on the edge of the road.
Those are coming down anyway, in another project.
No, I don't.
No.
That was
The
another
ones that are coming down are down.
No, this was another project. The
No.
Butlers,
Yeah, that driveway is,
isn't that driveway?
It's like another 100 yards.
It's 81.
yeah, it's 81.
Oh, okay.
81's over here. Yeah, so it's down past the,
Okay.
So this is, actually, this is, the Butlers live here.
Butlers.
oh, they do.
Oh, they do.
Right, our property
So,
ends
yeah, so maybe
here.
those trees, we already approved
Okay.
those to be removed.
So if those are the trees that are already tagged to come down for the Butler,
couldn't, separate this at all? Right next to each other.
so if those trees have already been identified for removal because of the project on the adjacent parcel, then, yeah, I guess my question is mute.
Sorry.
Oh, well. So do any members of the commission have questions? Do any members of the audience have comments or questions? So, can I have a motion to approve the minor modification to the right-of-way, well, the minor modification as described and shown on this plan for DEP file number 334-1752.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you coming tomorrow morning, Matt? Do you know?
I don't think I got the invite.
Okay.
I mean, I can, but
It's at 9.
yeah, probably.
If you have the time and you can come, please do.
Okay.
Okay,
There might be donuts.
Thank you, everyone.
thank
There
you.
might be donuts.
Then I would definitely go,
Moving on to our 7:25 PM agenda item, it's a public hearing for Gagny, 16 Leland Road.
Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Westford's non-zoning wetlands bylaw, Chapter 171, the Westford Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024, at 7:25 PM in Meeting Room 201 at Town Hall, 55 Main Street, to consider the request for determination of applicability application for Adam and Caitlin Gagny for the abandonment of an existing septic tank and leaching area and installation of a new septic tank and leach field within 100 feet of bordering vegetative wetlands at 16 Leland Road.
Good evening, I'm Kirk Fitzpatrick with Civil Solutions, and I'm here on behalf of the Gagnys for their property at 16 Leland Road. Basically, we have proposed before you a septic upgrade for the existing 3-bedroom dwelling. So right now, the house is serviced by a septic tank out towards the back of the house, and then it's got a leaching structure behind the porch, and then there's also an additional leaching structure over here in the side yard. Behind the neighboring property, number 18, there's a bordering vegetative wetland. It was delineated by Matt Morrow. And the 100-foot buffer zone associated with that. Basically, the entire house is located in the 100-foot buffer, and then it curves along the front towards Leland Road. Their well is located off the corner of the garage, so the 100-foot buffer zone associated with that takes up almost the entire front portion of the lot on this side. And then there's an adjacent well across the street, and then a 100-foot well arc that takes out the front over here. So we did 4 test holes to try to site the new system. Unfortunately, we hit the old system in 2 of them and couldn't get any really good results. We got test holes 1 and 4, which showed a seasonal high water table of 38 inches, and we were not able to run the perk test because it was too wet, so we took a soil sample to classify the soil. So we're proposing to change the plumbing to avoid trying to get new tanks in the back in this area, so they can change the plumbing and come out this front corner to a new 1,500-gallon septic tank, and that's going to feed a 1,000-gallon pump chamber. That's going to pump the liquid up to a system composed of the Presbyterian Septic in the side yard here. So the system is proposed to be elevated to meet the minimum groundwater offset, so there's a little bit of grading associated with it. At its closest point, the corner of the leach field is going to be 72 feet from the edge of the wetland. The system's kind of situated like that to avoid impacting these trees along the front of Leland Road. And also a little bit of runoff comes off the street. We want to maintain that flow of the water down towards the wetland. So if we rotated this system to get it further off the wetlands, this fill would actually get pushed into this area that actually rises back up and would block the flow of water through here. So this maintains the natural flow of water through the property. This plan has been approved by the Westford Board of Health, and I'm happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Where is the existing septic?
So right now, the tank is, it's probably about 35 feet off the edge of the wetlands.
Okay.
And then there's the system here, and then there's an additional system in this area here.
So the Board of Health said it was okay for the well to have a 100-foot wetland offset?
I'm sorry?
You have a wetland well confusion.
No, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking for the wetlands lines, trying to figure out how things lined up, and,
Sorry about that. Oh, that's not a good typo.
yeah, okay. Yeah,
At least they're both 100-foot offsets.
Yeah.
yeah. And there's a well in the center, but it just, because one of the things I was looking for was the proximity at the closest point to the wetlands, so.
I'm happy to fix that, and I can get Matt a revised plan.
Okay.
Fine.
No, Matt?
Nope, this certainly appears to be maximum feasible compliance for the lot.
Exactly.
Any comments or questions from members of the audience? Okay, so conditional negative determination?
Yes, erosion controls installed, maintained throughout construction, and shall be inspected by myself prior to construction.
So can I have a motion to issue a conditional negative determination of applicability? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to our 7:30 PM agenda item. It's a continued public hearing and issue order of conditions for 88 Tadmouth Road. Do I have something to sign?
Oh, yeah. Good catch.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Robert Melvin with Stamsky & McNary, representing the applicant of 88 Tadmouth Road. So we've made a few revisions to the plan since we last appeared in front of you. Most have to do with some Board of Health comments, mainly just moving the high vent out of the 10-foot setback and adding a few labels. We've also added a note to the plant list on the plan, just indicating that alternative plantings may be proposed by the commission, because there had been discussion that more robust plantings may be necessary at the last hearing. So we threw that in there. We've also shown the conservation posts along the 30-foot buffer zone in the back. And I believe that is the extent of the changes. We did receive Board of Health approval for the septic system yesterday, so that's all set. And that's all I have. I'll take any questions.
So the only question I have is, because I'm looking at the conservation posts, and there's one, can I borrow the? So, so there's one right there, and then it looks like this is the next one. Is that really the line, or should there be, is this really the way it's intended to be, or is the conservation post actually coming up here to an inflection point and then going down?
I'm not quite sure what you mean. I mean,
So these posts are to indicate that the homeowner should not be maintaining the property on the other side of the post.
right.
So I just want to be sure that what we're all agreeing to is from here over to here. Beyond that line, the homeowner is not going to be maintaining that area in terms of mowing lawn or doing stuff like that. And I'm also a little bit concerned because it looks like it's very close to those tanks.
Right.
So I guess I'm just asking to be crystal clear, is that's what's intended, that basically a line from here to here, So it's basically almost clipping where those tanks have been installed.
Right, right. I see what you mean. Yes, what you mentioned earlier with the inflection point. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is what was happening with that. I think it could be a little more clearly defined, but also taking another look at this. I am thinking about leaving access to those tanks there. So we may I think we have some dimensions on there. It's a little less than 30 feet from the wetland to those tanks.
Well, and I don't know, Matt, if you've...
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, I now understand what you, again, my original intent for the conservation posts was more so for the restoration area, to the, on the slope. Not so much, throughout the property. I'm now understanding I was, but if, more so, again, them, posts protecting this so that the homeowner doesn't go in and start mowing around the plantings. But also, if, that post gets shifted up, and again, that it is just previously disturbed areas from on site. It isn't lawn, but it's some form of ground cover. So, I think anything is better than what is, having some form of monumentation out there. But also, I think the intent could be very easily adjusted to, with a, minor plan revision if the commission is, with, progressing with issuing the order. Again, it's, just kind of the location of the conservation posts. And
Well, and part of me is, what I'm thinking about is, I think it was 45 Village View, where the homeowner ended up wanting to do something so that they could kind of elevate and level off part of their backyard. Is I want to be very clear for the homeowner where they can, well, actually, that's all in the buffer zone, so they'd have to come talk to us anyway.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see leveling going on here.
No, but I guess my concern was the way this is all written, in my eyes, and maybe I won't speak for the rest of the commission, but the first 3 posts from the right-hand side looks like it's drawing a line across, and I just want to be clear that that's what the homeowner was, that's the same in perspective the homeowner has.
And the water service is going in that area as well, now that I'm,
Okay.
sorry, it's all the dashed lines.
Do you need a little sign there?
Pretty busy.
It's like a magic eye test. If you look at one thing long enough, you go like, oh, that's what that one's for.
Yeah.
Want another post in between those two that's higher
Or
up?
just,
Just something so that, I think, so that the water line is outside of that no disturb area, or the no disturb area skirts around the water line.
yep, and, okay, yeah, and, would the commission be
Additional posts?
amenable to, again, if, we can continue on to the special conditions, and, if the commission is amenable to, those minor plan changes, we can certainly withhold issuing the order of conditions until a plan, show,
They have to give us an as-built with the post locations anyway.
Right,
So just
But
hold
it's
on.
got to match this.
right,
Yeah.
and
So
so,
make the minor adjustments,
yeah, so that it, follows the.
but try to keep it as close to where we have it, because, we are trying to
Right, we're
keep
trying to-
folks out from, the back
Exactly,
40
but,
there.
but again, that is all going to be disturbed, that is within the limit of work.
But we don't want their water line running outside, running through the do not disturb area. In terms of the area that they're not
So we
supposed
want
to
the
do
post
anything.
behind the water line?
Yeah, so that the posts really need to be beyond the water line so that they can do.
So if they had to do any repairs or anything like that, they wouldn't be in the no disturbed area.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can definitely revise the plan, get them behind the limit of work here.
And again, just kind of protecting the mitigation restoration area.
So you're also, so Matt, you're talking,
Because right now, the posts are here, here,
okay,
here.
Right, because when I thought I had seen an email saying to place posts on the 30-foot buffer zone.
Yeah, and I think it was, I think it was a combination of each, but, where we are doing, having things be planted,
Yeah.
want to make sure they don't, that's not for naught.
Sure.
You want to check this with your client in terms of, if they've seen this plan and now the posts are going to be someplace different, do you want to review that with your clients before we kind of write this in stone or write this in ink?
I'm just trying to think about timing of it,
We can do it, you can settle it.
Do you want to, would they be, if we tabled we...
Just table the 2 weeks.
Well, no, not even that, just table it, for you to go make a, see if they
Call
pick...
them now and
yeah, see
come
if they
back
pick
in
up,
the room?
Yeah, see if they pick up a phone call and, just...
I don't want to rush them that much. Jeez, give them a chance to think about it.
But if they want to keep, continue moving things forward, that's the...
You can ask if you can make that
I know they
decision.
want to...
You can ask if you can make that
Unfortunately-
decision for them. And if they do, this is the result, and if you don't, this is the other result.
Right. Unfortunately, my client did tell me today that she was going to visit family in China, so it's just not great timing.
8 a.m. over there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I think,
Could that,
if it
I don't see where
gets,
it's arguable.
if the conservation, if,
In order to get somewhere, if we give this as our direction, that's what it is.
I think with, the tradition, so this would probably be the form restrictions of development, or purchase sale agreements, no, that's that. Shall be installed along the 30-foot buffer. That's in there, and that's usually shall be at points 50 feet apart along the, what do you call it? Is that the proposed mitigation area?
Edge of mitigation
Yeah,
area.
proposed mitigation area and along the limit of work as shown by the erosion controls.
is that heavy dashed line?
Yeah, so this dashed line here is the mitigation area.
Okay.
So have conservation posts shown there, and then at the limit of work.
Right. Would it make sense if say I agree to this today, and we can always come back later?
Oh, yeah, minor modification.
I think we'll stick with that.
Okay. What, would you want it to go all the way to the erosion control, or just?
I'm going to come back with this minor mod. Let's figure this out later.
Well, no,
We can do this right now and just let him come back after he talks to his client.
Well, yeah, but if the client says, no, I want this, no, I want to go with it this way, so that we've got the water line
Well,
and
we
the...
can always say no. If we don't like his minor mod, he's got his plan that it's approved. We're giving him his.
Well,
his order of
it's, it's the special conditions, we do reference the final approved plan, but the special conditions do provide explicit guidance on the location, as opposed to, just saying as shown on the approved plan.
Right.
We're directing along here and
I don't
the
see it
edge,
as a
the
sticky
limit of
wicket,
work.
I really don't.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's just make sure the water line is not...
Yeah, but I would put it in, period.
Yeah, okay.
Yep,
So
and
amending it?
Yep.
I don't see it.
Amend special condition 50, so that it's with a minimum 24 at points 50 feet apart along the mitigation area and
Outside the water line?
and along the limit of work,
Okay.
Two can we vote?
which then encloses the water line.
Okay. So...
If there's no other discussion of any other special conditions.
Any other? So...
Motion to,
If we say that, if it's going to go roughly along.
No,
it's not.
No,
Oh,
so,
okay.
so it will, so in this area, yes. So this would be, the post would be along this limit of work and the mitigation
Okay.
planting area.
What happens over here?
I mean, and as, and at 30 feet outside of the limit of work.
But, okay, so it would,
So roughly where this is?
Where that one is,
To the water line?
yep,
Over and then down under the mitigation?
yes.
so there'd be one right here, there'd be one up at that corner, and then it would follow the erosion control till it got to the edge of the restoration area.
I think it'd be easier to draw a sketch than to try to describe it.
No, well, I mean, but in order for it to be in the the order of conditions, and so that we can keep things progressing for
Yep.
the applicant, in terms of, and another plan revision, which certainly is not inconsequential. So with special condition, with those 3 amendments to the location of the conservation posts.
So, motion to approve as amended?
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those against? No. Jim, did you say aye?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Be in touch tomorrow.
so moving on to our 7:35 PM agenda item, it's continued public hearing and issue order of conditions for 22 St. Paul Lane.
Good evening, Mark Slager from Allen Engineering, here on behalf of Spalding Hill Homes, Inc., lot 17 on St. Paul Lane. I did get a chance to quickly review some of the draft conditions, although we do have an update. The plan shows a drip edge along the foundation for stormwater management, and according to the engineering department, that is not an acceptable method of stormwater management, in their opinion. So I need to add a chamber system to the roof drains. All that work, I have it sketched out, I have the plans revised, I haven't submitted them yet, but the work does not affect anything in the buffer zone. But I do think it would be appropriate to have just one final plan referenced. So if we can just continue this till the 22nd and issue the order then, I think that would be a more smoother way to go.
Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing till May 22nd?
Everything else is okay?
I was just going to ask, was there did the commission have any comments of the special conditions, and we can just...
Or did you have any other condition, any other question? No? Okay.
No, nothing. I have a motion to continue the public hearing to May 22nd.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was quick and easy.
Take the wins when you can.
Right now.
Okay, moving on to our next agenda item, it's order of conditions, extension request for 2 years for Spalding Hill Homes, Inc., Spalding Hill Estates.
Again, Mark Slager from Allen Engineering, for the record. We have only a few things left to do at the site within the buffer zone. One of them is the wetland basin down at the far northern end of the site. It's being used as a temporary sediment basin, and until all those lots up gradient are stabilized, we don't want to finalize that and do the plantings. And then there's an emergency access road that goes from St. Augustine Drive across Lot 28 down to St. Paul Lane. That's expected to be constructed this year. We're not sure if we're going to be able to get the paving done. That would have to be done by, I think it's October 15th, for the finished pavement. It is just a driveway, but the engineering department may want the binder course to sit through one season before the finished coat goes down. Given that, then it's unlikely that we would have this completed by May 13th of next year. So we want to extend it for 2 years.
Any questions? Do you have any plantings where we usually look for 2 growing seasons? Do you have any more plantings that need to go in the ground, or all those plantings that we tend to watch for 2 years already in the ground?
The wetland basin is not planted as of yet. It's just being used as a temporary sediment basin. It's supposed to be a wetland basin, but it doesn't make sense to do those plantings until everything up gradient is stabilized.
So that's still something where we would be watching to make sure. Okay. Matt?
I have no comment on this.
Okay.
I'm in favor. There you go. There you go, Mark.
Could I have a motion to issue an order of conditions extension for 2 years for DEP file number 334-1710, extending the order through May 13th, 2026?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's for you.
Okay, now we have a minor modification request for 5 Drawbridge Road.
Yes. Good evening, Ronald Melanson, 5 Drawbridge Road. So we were wondering if we could add 2 more feet to a bump out we were planning on doing. We're gonna cancel the kitchen bump out that we had proposed, and then we just want to make a living room nearby an extra 2 feet more out.
So 2 feet more in each direction?
Going, yes, that way, right.
That way, and
Plan
then...
top and plan right. Sorry
Okay.
if this is, so this was reviewed recently by the commission. The 10 by 13 kitchen addition in this location is being canceled, and then the property owners are requesting to extend the family room addition, which was previously 16 by 24, to extend that to 18 by 26. As mentioned, I had something, I thought.
How far does that make it from the resource area?
My bad geometry, 2 feet on a square, it's about 3 and change.
Which 42
and a half?
Yes, it's 42 and a half now, so it's 39. Again, the existing is at 45 feet. The house was constructed prior to the town's adoption of the wetlands bylaw, and I think also predates the wetlands
Currently,
protection.
it's got lawn right there, right?
It's currently lawn, and now I remember. The homeowners reached out regarding their request prior to having a plan prepared. They wanted to get the commission's thoughts on it before going through a plan revision, and so that's why, if anybody's wondering why we have hand annotated plans.
So by removing the kitchen addition, then you're gonna, so there's an existing there's gonna be a new paver patio there that will include where the kitchen addition was proposed?
The patio, I don't think, since we're not doing the kitchen, we don't have to mess with the patio, I thought.
Yeah, I don't think, or very much. The patio area was largely to the direct behind.
Okay, just in terms of understanding, so I'm thinking the kitchen's not there, that means there's a paver patio where the kitchen was going to be.
Right.
As currently
There's a
is.
bulkhead there too, so.
Oh, is that what that sticky up thing
yeah,
is?
This is a bulkhead, yeah.
Okay.
So they were gonna remove the bulkhead, but I'm assuming no longer.
One of the things was just too much to.
Okay. I'm curious as to why you push 2 feet in those 2 directions as opposed to, for example, going 2 feet farther into the patio.
To keep more space in the patio, I thought.
Okay.
My wife, she wanted to keep that, like, we were gonna have a sliding door coming out to the patio originally, with the steps going down. So if we were to bump it that way, we would have between there and
So 2 feet less
where
of
it juts
patio.
out, it would be a lot less. So we kind of wanted to keep that area as, grill and picnic table area, as opposed to the other way.
No?
What is that room there, which is going from 16 to 18 feet? What is that room? Is that a living
It's just
room?
going to be a living room, right? A half boot room, like to come in and have a place to put boots and jackets, and then have the living room
And
right there.
so that's, what's being expanded is a proposed addition.
Right.
Right, that 16 by 24 isn't built yet. So you're just planning to
No.
make it bigger?
No, right now it's 2 feet less wide, and then it's only going out about 7 feet.
Right, the 26 is off of the garage.
Oh, the
there,
26
yeah.
is off the garage, okay.
That's 26. No.
Okay.
Do we have any conservation posts along the
Yeah,
30?
so this isn't, and again, this isn't the final approved plan that shows the conservation post, because there was some renaturalization and conservation post proposed. Again, this was the plan that was annotated just with respect to, it kind of, the request came to the building commissioner said, you should talk to Matt, and here we are tonight. So I would request that, go back to the engineer who developed the plan, the final approved plan, and making sure we get a copy. But if the commission is amenable to the 2-foot by 2-foot addition, that would be that's the nature of the request tonight.
Okay, fine. Can I have a motion to approve the minor modification request for 5 Drawbridge Road?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our 7:45 PM agenda item. It's continued public hearing, Wilma Realty Trust, 426 Littleton Road.
The applicant has requested the public hearing be continued without discussion to the commission's meeting on June 12th.
June 12th?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to continue the public hearing to June 12th?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to our next agenda item, review and execute the 2-year lease extension for the day agricultural and conservation land to the farmer.
Don't have it finalized yet, but I have it pretty close and want to send it to, based upon the commission's discussion at the last meeting, extending it 2 years with an extension with a subsequent extension and review by the commission for 3. But I want to send that to them and have them sign, or review and sign, execute before it comes to the commission.
Okay,
So we're
and with
breaking it, we're splitting it up.
We're splitting.
Yeah, we're splitting up, instead of another 5-year chunk, we're saying 2 years, another 3 years.
And the purpose of that is to see that everything's compliant.
Right, yes.
I got it.
You're also putting in writing all of the things
Yes,
that,
the
with
items
which we
as
want her to
discussed.
comply during the
I'd like
2
a
years.
copy of that at some point, just.
Right, no, I mean, it was going to be, included in the commission's
Yeah,
meeting
okay,
packet
that's
Wednesday.
fine.
So this will,
After they were,
I was there yesterday, and someone, I think it was she was working out there.
yeah.
Oh, good.
Fields, not
Yeah,
fields.
but they reached out with an email today following up, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm in process of getting this to you. So, yes.
okay.
Nothing like a little pressure.
Okay, so a discussion of the draft enforcement order for 13 Pine Tree Trail.
The property owner requested this to be discussed at the commission's May 22nd meeting, and both Sierra and my original emails ended up in a spam folder they were very responsive when they reached back out, actually, following up, being, hey, I haven't heard from you guys, what do I need to do? And so I was like, and then he found it, so we're using a different email address to communicate, but on the commission's May 22nd agenda.
Okay. And that does not require a motion.
Nope.
Okay. So now moving on to the discussion and action items.
I have made contact with the representative of CSX, with whom name was provided by the environmental consultant. I hope to have a final update and information for Jim to take the safety course by the commission's next meeting.
Stand in front of moving trains.
20 Keys Road, I do not have an update on the enforcement discussion.
Have you been able to
But
contact them?
I'm still, it keeps falling away. I'm trying. The Stony Brook Conservation Area,
This is a job description.
yeah, I've been following up with, I've been working with the Recreation Department to dovetail what we're looking for into their their hiring of the summer attendants, and also kind of procedures and policies for whomever is hired to, this is how this is what we are expecting of you. This is, And thankfully, there are bathroom facilities that can be accessible for them up at the day lodge. So just, again, if we're going to have people there, we need to make sure it's being done safely and going about it.
Have that in writing.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you get that. That's, again, a half-done document right now.
That's okay.
The Edwards Woods, I don't have an update on.
I do have a question.
Yes.
For the commission on that one. There are some perennials that are coming up that I'd like to go and dig up and get out of there that are non-native, like daylilies. There's a bleeding heart plant in there. Is that okay that I do that?
Yeah, I mean, if it was dumped there and,
You mean it just, you're going to wear a sign? Are you going to wear a sign that says I'm on conservation?
Wear whatever you want.
Thinking what it looks like from the road. You know what I mean? No, I'm just all.
Are you thinking of stuff that may have self-seeded?
Yeah, so there's daylilies that I've noticed are spreading now, and I just would like to get those
yeah, I
get
think
them out of
that's
there.
fine, and I can, if you let me know when you're planning on doing it, I can.
This weekend, probably.
Okay. That's hard to.
And with Edwards Woods, we've gotten communication sometimes with volunteers looking for places to come in and help with cleanup. Is there anything at Edwards Woods where somebody can just, if we said, yeah, we've got a bunch of, volunteers who want to do a couple hours work, is there something at Edwards?
Yeah, that whole area on the perimeter along Williams Ave and on that side.
So
There's
could you show
bittersweet,
them?
there's all kinds of invasives. Yeah, absolutely.
She could show them
Yeah, I
so
could
someone
direct
leads
Well,
them.
it just, at some of this, right now, everybody who's asked has already gotten an assignment, but it occurred to me that
Garlic
this.
mustard.
Yeah, it occurred to me that this might be another site where, when they say, oh, is there conservation properties that need help? Okay, so we can keep Edwards Woods in our back
Yep,
pocket.
no, that's very.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
Freedom Park improvement. Did I include? I thought I included your.
Yeah, your note is there.
Yeah, I've been having fun with bittersweet.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no, because what you included was what Kevin Braze told me about.
Yes, and the water flowing from.
Yeah, he said that these holes, literally the water bubbles up out of those holes and then just starts flowing across, and then the subsequent pictures show how it's eroding as it flows towards the beach.
The old stumps?
No.
I don't know if it's some.
It'd be a broken drain pipe. If it's only when it rains, it's probably a broken drain
Well,
pipe.
and it has to be, he said it only happens when it's very heavy rains.
Broken drain pipe.
Yeah, I mean, and if it's connected to something, and I don't know if there was, as to.
The drain under the parking area, or
Yes.
drains from the
Right, it
adjacent
was,
properties that
it
used to go
was-
to a communal
yeah.
septic?
Well, it wouldn't only pump when it rains. If it's only when it's raining, it's probably due to stormwater runoff.
From someplace.
Not septic, because that would happen.
Well, that's true, because Kevin was wondering if it was connected to the storm drain out on Pleasant Street. Or actually, there's one also on Pond Street.
Yeah,
There's a storm drain right across.
I'd just be. You pull off one layer of the onion and
Well, and actually, I had first noticed those holes when I went out in August or September last year, and my first thought was whatever the highway department brought in there to brush cut along the edge of the pond, that some very heavy vehicle had sunk into soggy ground.
But if it's continuous, I mean, even now, it hasn't kind of returned to form. It still looks.
No, and a couple of people have said that when that those get very wet and they seem to be like bottomless. So anyway, yeah.
You could dig a little and see what you get.
Don't want to dig a little.
So Noel, with where we are with the Scouts, did you mention that part about installing a paved sidewalk from the end of the paved access to the dock to the main walkway from the parking lot?
No, I tried, I couldn't get in touch with them.
Okay.
So I went to their meeting on Monday,
Yep,
and there was so much other business that I couldn't bring it up.
okay.
But there's an adult meeting, the adults
Okay.
meeting tomorrow, I'll go there and ask.
Okay, and do we know the date when the scouts would do that project?
They thought they were gonna do it last week. I said, no, you can't do it last week. We need all kinds of equipment rented.
Oh,
and
okay.
Sand to,
Okay, yeah, okay, so, we just need to have a timeline so that we can get as much as we can done.
Yeah, and communicate with me when you're going to be, with what materials, because the commission does have an account with the Ace Hardwares, so we can kind of purchase directly, and then.
It'll just be pavers from Ideal Paver.
Oh, okay.
And sand.
Okay, yeah.
Probably
So,
Dr. Mulch or somewhere.
yeah, okay.
Have you had a chance to follow up with the guy to come look at
I
the
have
chain
not.
link fence? Okay, 'cause we need to do that.
Oh, there will be a compactor, so they have, Ace probably has compactors.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Just things that we can go through.
Yeah.
It's one less reimbursement that I have to process. I can.
And I thought I read somewhere that Jim Arcera was gonna get funding for us. Help with funding, is that right? He was interested in this project, that's what I read.
Oh, all right.
No, that was Jeff Hall, who's been visiting Maryland.
No, I remember Jim's name mentioned.
Okay.
I'm very,
All right.
Yeah,
I'll look it up.
Yeah, if we can figure it out.
Yeah, so,
Town manager's newsletter, it's a myriad of places.
so there's about a 15-foot strip between the vegetation at the end of the pond and the grassway that, does DPW, has the highway department been mowing that every year?
I don't know if they've been mowing that every year, but they maintain.
Yeah, I know they mow the lawn.
I think there was a miscommunication and staff turnover.
Okay, so anyway, they clear cut it, and as I'm watching, the only thing that's growing up in a 15-foot wide strip is bittersweet. So I've started, at this point, I've put in about 8 hours digging up bittersweet, and it's just, the roots are just all over the place. If we don't get those roots out, I don't think anything else is gonna grow in there. So, do we need, in terms of getting something, realistically, would we be able to get something starting to grow there this summer without getting the bittersweet roots out? Because I've been sending you pictures of what I dig up.
Yes, they're quite impressive. I think, let me take a look at the seed mixes that New England Seed has, because some of them take a little bit longer to establish than others, but in lieu, I know their erosion controlled seed mix establishes faster than some of the, wildflowers and the, kind of, the matrix, the matrix that has kind of grasses and,
So maybe I should concentrate on the stretch closest to the pond first so we can get that seeded?
I think any of it will, I think.
If you want to reach out to me when you're going down, I can, if I'm available.
Do you have a digging fork?
Yeah.
Okay.
My hands? Yep.
No, I'm using one that, well, I'll send you a picture of what
I
I'm
will,
digging up.
Yeah, I got lots of tools.
Okay. Noel?
I've got a broad fork too, if you know what that is.
Yeah, what?
A broad fork?
With the multiple that you step on
It's like this
to
big,
till.
it's really heavy, it'll
Yeah.
get big stuff out.
So it
I know what you're
loosens
talking
the
about.
soil so you could pull all the, okay.
It's very,
Yeah, you hold the stakes, you step on it.
You rent
Yeah,
that?
it's-
Oh,
we have
Oh,
one.
you have,
okay. Maybe I can set up some time to
Yeah.
go over there and look, yeah.
One other thing is, I'm working with a group of teenagers from our church. They do a mission trip, so to speak, locally,
Uh-huh.
and they're looking for projects. So I know this won't be till July, so there's stuff left over. We could
Noel,
pull them in.
that
No,
was
that's,
2 hours
yeah, let me
work.
know, because we can certainly.
It's you.
They,
Wow.
like 15, 20 kids. So you
So
might get like
satisfying.
6 kids
Right, yeah, but,
for a day.
Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
Well, yeah, and
that's-
no, you'll be around this weekend?
Off and on. I'm traveling for soccer games and all that.
Okay, I'm just thinking is
Would you
if,
pick it up?
no, is if, well,
I also can borrow one from, a friend of mine has one.
okay, maybe
I
what
can
we
leave it
could,
outside my garage. You can just pick it up.
okay, I'm just wondering if it makes sense to meet out there and have a quick look at stuff and,
Oh, yeah.
and stuff like that. So, Okay, we'll be in touch then.
Yeah, what are you thinking? I can't do Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon? Like after 11, 10 or 11?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm working in the
Yeah, let's
garden this
talk.
weekend.
What?
I'm working in the garden this weekend.
Okay, so let's, Saturday at 11 is good?
I'll have to confirm.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
and if it's
so-
not 11, you know, if there's sometime after lunch you want to suggest.
Yeah, I'll make a note.
Okay. Summer Village Conservation
I
Restriction?
do not have an update for that, nor do I have an update on the conservation restriction, vegetation cutting follow-up from 28 Jarvis Hill, number 28 Jarvis Hill Estates.
Okay.
Don't have it. I added, following the commission's last meeting, I added the enforcement order compliance for 30 Preservation Way, just kind of as a discussion item. I know they had a pretty tight timeline. I hadn't followed up with them, but I know they were looking to kind of have everything squared away and in the ground and done for the commission's May 22nd meeting. So I plan on following up with the property owner just to see. And they may actually be filing a septic plan. Yeah, septic fill.
Okay, oh.
Maybe, yeah. No, yeah, it's separate of the enforcement order, but.
You mean an RDA for a septic replacement?
Yeah.
Okay.
So see if we can try to dovetail them all together, if need be. We did receive go into the Depot Street?
Yes.
Okay. Included in the commission's meeting packet was a maintenance notification letter from National Grid. They're proposing to remove the existing gas main along, kind of that's a standalone tube pipe adjacent to the easterly face of the Depot Street Bridge over Stony Brook. They're proposing to replace the line and bolt it to the bridge. I think they have concerns about maintenance and kind of the integrity of the existing conditions. They originally reached out, and the result was this letter. I do agree with their the environmental scientists' conclusion that the proposed work is exempt from both the State Wetlands Protection Act and the town's local wetland bylaw, as it is maintenance, it is not enlarging, it is not, they're not, and bolting to the face of the bridge is fairly minimal in terms of, one of my original comments was with respect to the, that in the event of any excavation or anything occur, that the best management practices be followed, and apparently when you ask for that best management practices be followed, you get 12 pages of best management practices of literally any situation with which you could possibly come across. So
Doesn't mean I read any of them, but.
okay. But just wanted to include this for the commission, again, to see, kind of the scope of stuff that sometimes gets administratively approved and, as it is exempt
So
under.
where's all the other gas line that, it still stays buried in the ground once it gets beyond the bridge?
Right. Yeah.
Where is it now?
So right now, it's
Dangling.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't have a photo. Google. When in doubt.
I mean, when they bolt it to the bridge, is it one of these things that you're gonna see this exposed gas pipe going along the bridge? Or they bolt it less inconspicuously, or?
I don't, right now it's pretty inconspicuous.
It's what?
Right now it's pretty conspicuous. That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like September of last year.
Yeah.
So, it's a freestanding, with, I think, kind of, buttress.
And they're gonna bolt it to the guardrail, or?
No, they're gonna bolt it to the
The outside.
the outside. So you won't see it at all.
Okay.
And
So they'll remove that big,
I don't know if they're removing that pipe or, I don't remember what's in there. Removal and replacement of 4-inch, attached to the bridge. Again, they're 50 linear feet of free suspended 4-inch diameter gas main inside a 6-inch diameter steel sleeve. So I don't know if they're getting rid of that, but they're getting rid of the gas main within that pipe. So
Well, shouldn't we ask them to get rid of the pipe too?
When we tell them to.
I can certainly ask that. Again, I don't know if it was.
Well, I guess they tell us, we can't tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can
I think they
ask.
just told us that.
We can ask. We can.
sell it for scrap.
Okay.
Okay. So, moving on to the minutes for April 11th. Any changes or amendments?
Looks good.
Can I have a motion to approve the April 11th minutes of the minutes of the April 11th special meeting?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Abstain also.
Any changes to the April 24th meeting, the minutes for the April 24th meeting? Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for the meeting of April 24th, 2024?
Abstain. So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no site visits to record, no site visits to schedule. Anything else we need to talk about?
We don't have an open meeting for town meeting that we need to close, do we?
No, because we just went by the all boards meeting.
Okay, fine.
Oh, with the open space and recreation plan updates, is there,
We've filed, that's a very royal we. My colleagues in the land, in the planning department, filed a Mass One-Stop grant application for the plan to receive grant funding to hire a consultant. Also, I just received, who is it, NIMCOG's, kind of a letter from, or an email from NIMCOG today, just kind of touting the things they're doing. And they are currently updating Chelmsford's open space and recreation plan amongst other plans for Chelmsford. So there's another avenue in the event, you know, kind of, that's option 2 in the event the state, where we don't end up getting any of the one-stop funding. So we're keeping apprised of opportunities to have it updated with my minimal involvement.
okay. If there's nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.